What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters Allstar video. And in today's video, we are going to be catching up on some bits of news that we haven't been able to cover here on the channel over the course of the past couple of days, as well as answering some frequently asked questions about the newest Boss Syndrome Volume 4 banner. But before we get into all of that and more, make sure if you guys are new here to the channel and you enjoy daily King of Fighters All-Star content such as this, you smash that like button and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into today's video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about a couple of different topics, so if you guys are interested in any of these specifically, of course the timestamps will be active, so that way you can skip to whichever part of the video is pertinent to you. But I wanted to go ahead and start off here with answering a couple of questions that I have been getting a ton of, and being the fact that we have not had a chance to do a weekly subscriber Q&A due to the fact that we've gotten so many updates this week and so much news, I figured I would go ahead and answer those real quick. So the first big question that I've been getting non-stop is, of course, should you summon on this banner? And of course, yesterday we did 3 different videos. One of them was our summon video, but then there were 2 more videos after that that did go ahead and give you guys a showcase for both of these characters. These are typically just going to be my knee-jerk reactions and just a few of the observations that I have made using these characters over a short period of time before we get to the much more in-depth spotlight videos, which you guys will probably be seeing next week. Now, of course, the only downside to those showcase videos is that, of course, I don't do any commentary on those, so this is actually the first time that I've spoken with you guys since the launch day of these characters, being the fact that that video yesterday for our summon session was pre-recorded. So this is my observation of these characters in the past 48 hours of being able to play around with them. Yeah, they're busted as hell, and of course you should summon if you can afford to. I say this as Leona nonchalantly in the background goes ahead and does over 1 billion damage in Lunatic Guild Raid solo against Bruegel. But hold up there, guy, because I've heard a lot of people out there talking some crap on Goenitz here, and I am happy to report that Goenitz can also hit 1 billion damage solo in Lunatic. Well, he gets darn close, but I'm sure that you could do it if you have steep enough investment. I just haven't gotten to that point yet, but I'm sure that by the time I get to that spotlight video, it's probably going to happen. So overall, both of these characters are absolutely brain dead stupid, and if you can afford to pull for them, of course you pull for them. There's no reason you shouldn't, unless you are just that paranoid about whatever the next couple of banners are going to be. But I don't know what you guys are looking for as far as meta characters at this point if you don't see either of these as being worth it, because both of these characters are pretty much going to bully every piece of content that we currently have in the game, whether or not they have the relevant dots to that game mode or not. At this point, they look at relevant dots and rules and just laugh at them and do damage. So that's pretty much how I look at this banner. If you can afford to pull on this banner, you're going to be happy with both of these characters. I've even almost thought about not doing a spotlight video on either of them and just doing a 30-second short video and telling you guys that these characters are broken and stupid and I have nothing else to say besides that. But I will make sure to do those spotlight videos nonetheless. So another thing that I've been getting a ton of questions about is which stones should you pick for Leona? So I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have not seen any data so far as a comparison between these 2 sets of stones, so I'm just going to go off of what I do know. So what I can tell you guys firsthand is for my Leona, personally, I went with defensive stones. Now, that is not my recommendation to you guys. The reason why I went with defensive stones is because I do not have a set of defensive stones for Boss Syndrome stones yet, and I figured that Leona was the best excuse I was going to get in order to pick a set for science. So I'm actually planning on using these as a way to test, and then later on I may very well go ahead and swap them off of her if need be. be, but for now I just wanted to have a defensive set in general. That way I could go ahead and run damage tests with these types of stones, so keep that in mind. My recommendation to you guys is more than likely you're going to want the attack stones for her. I've heard nothing but good things about those, and that seems to be the popular consensus. Of course, that was also the way I was leaning before I decided to go the route that I did, but again, I picked the stones that I picked for YouTuber reasons, and largely it's up to you. But if you're wanting to mimic my damage, then hey, go ahead and pick the defensive set and you should be just fine, so long as you have the proper investment, build up your fame, build up your cards, so on and so forth. But one other thing I want to point out here, because we just spoke about it, so as you guys are watching in the background here, yeah, Mr. Goenitz here is going to get darn close to 1 billion damage solo on Lunatic against Omega Rugal. So for all of you out there who have been talking crap about him, well, to be honest, I got one thing to say to you.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah, so there's that, but the other thing is, if you guys are wondering, definitely go attack stones for Goenitz. It's a no-brainer there. So the final question that I want to tackle, and then we'll talk about the new battle passes, is of course going to be which one of these characters is quote-unquote better. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, you're basically looking at Leona at this point as the top DPS in the game as a burn unit. She is phenomenal. She's easily the strongest character on DPS in the game, I get the feeling at this point. But then you have Goenitz, who's literally probably the second highest DPS in the game at this point, and if he's not, he is literally like right there, and there's really no debating it. So to be honest, whichever one you prefer at this point, if you have a personal favorite, you can't go wrong, honestly. Like, so really guys, both of these characters are incredible. There's amazing value on this banner. Like I said, if you can afford to pull, and a potential SS Terry or SS Rio plus whoever might come along paired with them doesn't worry you, nor the fact that we might end up getting a Halloween event, maybe with some new characters as well. If none of that stuff worries you as far as missing out on it, then go ahead and invest on this banner. It's a ton of value. You can't go wrong with either one of them. But with all of that being said, we're going to go ahead and talk about the new battle passes as well as that possible Halloween event. So let's catch up on some news real quick. Alright you guys, so the first bit of news that I want to go ahead and talk about here is of course going to be the new battle passes. So these were live yesterday, but with all of the videos I had going out yesterday, I did not have time to get to it, so we're going to talk about it right now. So of course we have two different tiers, one's for $5, one's for $50, so we'll go ahead and talk about them separately, but I'm going to do this a little bit different from my normal because I have a little bit of a rant in here. So when we talk about the $5 tier, which we're looking at here, you'll see that you get 400 rubies, you're also going to get several of the tokens for the unified banner, a bunch of skip tickets, so on and so forth. My opinion of this, the unified banner, they have given us no reason to care for a very long time. If you're a new beginner player, then this is probably going to show a ton of value for you. For those of us veterans, at this point, these tokens, we don't even really need to worry about these types of packages or anything like that. So honestly, you guys, it depends on where you're at. If you're a new player, a beginner, intermediate, somewhere in there, and you could still find value on the unified banner, go for it. This is definitely going to be worth the $5 price tag. It's actually very, very cheap for what you're getting here, so the value proposition's there. However, for us veterans, it's not necessarily anything that is going to bear much value, so I would go ahead and pass on the pass if you're a veteran. Everybody below that, definitely something worth considering for the price. Now, for $50, this is our new $50 battle pass. So we get 4,000 rubies. We get a ton of times 10 tokens in here. We actually get 5. And then you get a bunch of these items. You're going to get a Fest Fighter selector ticket. You're also going to be getting some memory selectors, so on and so forth. So looking through here, there's definitely a lot of value, but I want to rant about this for just a moment. So Netmarble, explain this to me, and I know I've said this a million times in the past, and I know I'm talking to an audience of none because you guys are not listening to anything I ever tell you, but I'm pretty sure that every person in the comment section will agree when we say that, why are you guys passing up on the golden opportunity every time you do these passes around a limited banner to theme it around the limited banner itself? It makes little to no sense whatsoever, and actually makes me question whether or not anybody at Netmarble's office offices that is putting these passes together actually gives a damn. Because if you were, for instance, to go ahead and instead of 5 tokens for the unified banner and so on and so forth, put like 2 tokens for multis for the new limited banner, whatever limited banner is running at the time in here, and then you put 2 for the card banner for the limited banner in here, and you put a generic boss syndrome memory in here, and you took away some of these other items that honestly we appreciate, but it isn't that big of a deal for a lot of us veterans who are the ones that are probably going to be the most interested in spending this amount of money. Why are you leaving money on the table? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. You're actually costing yourselves money. I guarantee you there are whales watching this video that if that happened, they would buy this in a heartbeat. But I guarantee you those same whales would probably look at this and go, honestly, this pass isn't anything I'm overly interested in because outside of the rubies and some of the items, I don't really need the tokens, and that's the thing. And even the Fest Fighter Selector and all this other stuff, like, yeah, those things are nice, but at this point, who is this tailored toward? Because honestly, it looks to me like the most value here would be for people who aren't veterans, and at that point, I don't really see how it's anything that special. So honestly, you guys, I think they need to start theming these after the limited banners. It makes more sense to me to go that route at this point than anything, because if they are going to be as stingy as they are with these generic boss syndrome and SS memories, just go ahead and put one on here and people will probably spend the money on it, especially if you decide to put a couple of token multis on here for the limited banner in question. That's my rant. I'm not saying that the value isn't there, because there's quite a bit in here, but to be honest with you guys, I just don't see the point of releasing passes around limited banners and not trying at all in order to tie them into the new content. It just makes no sense to me, and for whatever reason, it makes sense to Netmarble. So that is my rant. I think that both of these passes have value depending on where you're at in the game, but really it just comes down to whether or not you still need a lot of these generic Fest characters from the unified banner. If you do, go for it, because there is a lot of value on it. But outside of that, honestly, you guys, $50 is $50. That's a lot of money, and we are getting into the time of the year where there are a lot of really cool video games coming out. In fact, Metroid Dread comes out next week, so honestly, I ain't buying this thing, and I don't think many of you should either. The $5 one, definitely one that you might consider, but that's my rant on this. I'm going to pass on the passes, but it's up to you guys. Like I said, there is value there. So the next thing that I want to go ahead and talk about real quick is actually just rumors and speculation. So take what we are about to talk about with a pinch of salt. However, there are rumors, and this has been confirmed. There has been allusions to Halloween events in the data since this new update. So I'm going to show you guys a few photos here. Now, basically, these are some assets that are purportedly going to be potential for the Halloween event coming up soon. So we've had plenty of Halloween events in the past in this game. It tends to be something they like to do. There is all the potential in the world that we are going to be getting a Halloween event. Of course, last year we got the Halloween Gatecrasher characters for Halloween, which was Halloween Gatecrasher Chris, as well as Alice. So there is a chance that we might get new Halloween characters at the end of this event to coincide with the holiday. So that to me is an awesome idea. I love Halloween events because Halloween's my favorite holiday, but we'll wait and see what happens. I just figured I'd go ahead and mention this to you guys. That way you weren't caught with your pants down in case anything happened. So keep that in mind. It is all grain of salt stuff. It's all in the data, so it's one of those things where anything could happen. We aren't guaranteed anything for Halloween, but it would be in line with what they've done in the past around that holiday. So anyway, you guys, that is going to be today's video. I hope you all found it enjoyable. If you did, make sure that you smash that like button and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with the Saturday chat and chill, but until then, good luck on your summons if you're pulling. I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Peace.
Continue.